Twagulapu, ʔǝswǝli tista, ʔǝswǝli tista, Lou Matheson tista, Situtskoi, Lou Matheson tista, Situtskoi, Asif Zahir tista, Atitbad, Asif Zahir tista, Atutbad, Talal Afghanistan tistutbad, Nakota Atsistabu, Tutskoi, Don Matheson tista, Atichaspadab, Don Matheson tista, Atistutchaspadab, Poyalapopsh, Tistutbadab, Ochotchod, Atischotchod, Tala Poyalap, Ogwalchits, Tichaspadab, Atis Ochotchods. Boarding schools was a primary cause of language loss because you had a break between language use between the elders and children, and that's where you get language loss, when a child stops or does not learn the language. In Washington, or Western Washington, different tribes had different experiences. Suquamish had the steamboats that would come up and every year, and when the families would hear the steamboats, they'd send their kids in the woods so they wouldn't be taken to Cushman boarding school. And my stepfather said that when he was a boy in the Puyallup tribe, everyone spoke the language when he was 4 and 5. And as he got older, there came a day when everyone stopped speaking the language, and he asked his uncle why that was. His name was Uncle Fat. And he said, because we were forced to. The government agent at the time made 2 rules that he imposed on us. He said, you shall not speak your language, and everyone shall join a church. So the people joined churches. They were forced to. And his uncle told him that those that did not obey those rules disappeared and no questions were asked. I asked her, Chati ʔǝswǝli, where did our language come from? Oh, Talal Tiswatufted. She didn't even bat an eye. She said, it came from the land. Och tis to ish jaskol to welak ed. Kubak stam. Our people went out and they asked all things. Idigwat chef, what do you say, what do you say, what do you say? Oh, she said. Oh, dilhawa atsta, oh, dilhawa assistati. Oh, that's what your name is, indeed. Oh, that's how it is, okay. I asked her, I said, why is ʔǝswǝli important? ʔǝswǝli gwati Lilti chach atil to yalab chast to isha chast tolal turi tu hak, she said. She said because it encompasses the philosophies of our people from a long, long time ago. This is why our language is important. Go schodhoti talaltiswatifte, because this is the language that is from this land. Ebelafchakwa twalshutirabafchafogwa schodhobid tis kalkalalite atiswatifte got labud bitsiraf. If you talk your language to the spirits of this land, they will understand you. Abilavchaf, as Harfti Lushootseed, if you know Lushootseed, Hachafaslit Laba Tiswatiftit, Yaftis Kalalitit at Tiswatiftit. If you know the Lushootseed, then you are going to understand this land, this world, and the spiritual powers of the spirits of this world. So Haidabutchaf, you're going to know yourself. Oqalusad chasla, Sister Aquifadab. Oqalusab chaslo, I'd ask her. Oqalusad chaslo, Titwa Shotsid. Otasa chaslo. Do we need to pay Lushootseed something? Do we need to give it an offering like we give a medicine man? We pay Lushootseed with our mind. We give it our mind. That's how you pay the language. That's how you give it that. That's the gift. You give it good thoughts. You focus your mind on it, she said. When you listen to those stories and you work with those stories and you start translating and transcribing those stories and learning how to tell those stories, your mind changes. Those stories do have a power that can affect the way you see things, the way you think about life, and think about your life, and think about the cause and effect of things in nature, what we say, how we act. She had a different way of relaying the meaning of what she said in Lushootseed. And it was still rich, but it was a different type of richness. And it was basically translating what she said, but there were connections in the language. There were words that had different meanings that don't translate well into English. And given that we're cultural people, we understand the idea everything has a spirit. But in English alone, that concept is very foreign. All things have a spirit. And that's very metaphorical, that's very beautiful. Oh, you know, nature, one with the Mother Earth. And that sounds really good, and that it is good. You know, we're on the circle of life. This is our Mother Earth. That is good. A good way to perceive the world, because it helps you understand how everything's connected, and that our actions and our behaviors do matter. But in Lushootseed, that whole concept is not metaphorical, it's reality. The reality in Lushootseed is totally different than it is in English, to where you are responsible for what goes on around you by what you think. You are responsible. You affect what goes on around you by your thoughts. In English, you can say that, like I just said, but it's not inherent to the structure of English. In Lushootseed, it is. That's how you use that concept all the time when you talk about traveling, when you talk about going to a gathering, when you talk about going through a hard time or a good time or doing something new or an interaction with somebody. It's inherent in everything you do. And this gives importance to the language because some people say, well, there are words that don't translate well between languages, and that's why all languages are important. This is true. Well, a word signifies the importance of certain things in a culture that are not readily available in Western culture. This is true. Well, there are concepts that are hard to translate from one language to another. This also is true. But the ultimate is that there are actual realities that are as real as this table that exist in one language but not in another. And that's very powerful because you're literally living then in two different worlds. You can go between, and if you're multilingual, you can go into several. So we're very limited when we're monolingual. We think we know a lot. We think we know how to talk about anything, but we don't. And those that are bi or multilingual, I have yet to meet one that does not understand that concept. It does not have to be native language. It could be any other language. They go, yeah, you're right.